Yeah.
Cool.
We good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to open up, or do you want to open up?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Okay. So, for me, I would say that anxiety and depression began when I was about 9. My parents split up, and a house got repossessed, and my old girl hit the bottle in a pretty big way. And what I've sort of been told in therapy was that I sort of became the man of the house at the age of 9. 2 younger brothers. My mum had 3 under 3.
Yeah.
And I just felt this like overwhelming responsibility to protect and look after the family after my old man had left. But my mum's drinking got progressively worse very quickly, and she was very erratic. It's very much a Jekyll and Hyde thing when she hit the bottle. And I guess I had to be on high alert all the time in like fight or flight mode, and I never really knew how to relax from that age onwards. And what I was told by a therapist was I've sort of this was like a few years ago now. I was probably like 25 when I went for this therapy session, and she said that the main reason I'm riddled with anxiety was because I was put under that pressure at such a young age, and I had to worry to survive and look after my family, and that's all I know how to do. Do you know what I mean? So I've had to teach myself like not to worry. Do you know what I mean? Because that's my default setting as a person. I mean, it has its pros, in fairness. Like,
and how do you feel? You know, we've spoken about a lot of these issues before, and I think one of the important things we want to get across with this is about, you know, we're 2 blokes from a certain part of the world, you know, football watching, beer drinking kind of macho culture, and how does it make you feel to be like bringing these issues into, you know, not just like your mates and stuff like that, but into like a public realm now? Do you feel comfortable doing it, or?
No, you feel vulnerable, don't you? I do anyway. Do you?
See, that's the big thing, yeah, for me. And you know, I've seen, well, so this probably ain't a great medium for me, because opening up isn't exactly my natural way to go. But I think that's something that I want to get across, is like, with all this that's so important, is like, as blokes, we're all thinking the same things, you know, we're all feeling the same things deep down, and but we've always been taught that vulnerability and weakness and opening up
makes you less of a man.
Makes you less of a man, yeah. And it actually, you know, from the things that we've talked about, you know, in the last year or whatever, it's actually the ballsiest way to go, is being able to say to someone, oh, I'm feeling this, or I'm thinking this. And I mean, that's sort of, I've seen amongst my group of friends, like, the conversation has started to change with the work that's going on in the media and charities like Calm.
Yeah.
That for the first time, we're going to each other, instead of saying, oh, did you see Kane's goal at the weekend? We're going, mate, can I talk to you about something?
Yeah.
And it don't half make a difference, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I think the fact that you've got people like Tyson Fury, public figures like that, you know, being that open about it. I mean, you know, Tyson Fury comes from what would traditionally be like this, you know, uber masculine background of like a travelling, fighting man, you know. And boxers, you know, rarely show vulnerability or weakness, because it's all about the mind games, isn't it, before a fight?
Yeah.
So the fact that you've got someone like that, like such a famous public figure, throwing it out there, and being that vulnerable, I think that's where social media
can be a massive help.
Yes, yeah. Although it has its detrimental effects, you know,
there's
there's a darker
countless,
side
isn't
to it.
there?
There's a positive and negative to everything, isn't there? But
Yeah.
that's one of the really positive things about this information age we're in, you know. People have sort of, I think at first with like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, people only wanted to show, you know, the
good side of
good
life.
things.
Yeah. And it becomes a world superficial thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, and even maybe to the point where not necessarily in a showy way, they were just probably too scared to show anything else, or were thinking like, oh, if I post that though and say how I'm really feeling, maybe that's going to bring people down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so it's just getting over that
Over
stigma.
that, it's a fear, isn't it? It's a stigma. It's a
Yeah.
fear of being judged for saying how you feel, basically, isn't it? And
Yeah.
you know, I've told you, we've lost two young men in my family in the last 10 years to suicide,
Yeah.
and you can't help but think, like, did they feel like they had no one to turn to? Do you know what I mean? And you know, could a helpline have made the difference for them? You know, if you can't talk to your family or your friends, can a helpline make a difference for you? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I've never.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like
not
to
been
think,
in that position.
I'd like to think that it could, you know. I mean, I've been lucky enough at the point in my life where I was on the brink of suicide to have my wife there, you know, to talk to me and talk me around and basically bundle me into a car, stop me from going to do it. But yeah, not everybody has got someone
And
in that
even
moment.
if they have, a lot of people don't know how to communicate it anyway.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest issue, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, if it was more publicised, like a helpline, like Samaritans or Calm, is the better, obviously, because I think it has helped people in their need, clearly, you know, because they're doing wonderful things. Both those charities. So
and it's something we've spoke about as well. It's been like their style of marketing, that direct style, that no nonsense, you know, not beating around the bush about these issues. Like we went to their offices, didn't we, a couple of weeks ago for a meeting?
Yeah.
And one of the big posters on the walls is "Feel like shit, ring this number."
Yeah, I mean that's as direct as it gets, isn't it?
But that's how you know,
it's all.
that's how the majority of blokes talk to each other. They go down the pub, they have a couple of beers, and you know, a little conversation like that can make such a difference to someone, can't it? If it's in the changing rooms after football or cricket or whatever, or if it's down the local, just going, "Here, mate, can I just have a chat with you for 5 minutes?"
Yeah.
If you can bring that into people's way of thinking, then surely that's got to be a positive thing, isn't it?
Well, there's that cliche saying, but there's a reason it's a cliche. It's a problem shared, it's a problem halved.
Yeah, and I think that's such a big thing.
Yeah, just that word transparency. I think it's just really important for us to be more open about our mental health and discuss these things and put these feelings out there, be vulnerable.
Yeah, which I've said to you, it's alright doing it in music, showing a bit of vulnerability.
Yeah,
but saying it to your mate down the pub's a whole different level, isn't it? And
well, you're still hiding a little bit in the song, aren't you?
Yeah, I think so, mate. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but there's still, I don't know. It's still behind the shield, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what art is, isn't it? It's a way of sort of projecting whatever's going on inside without having to actually say it straight to somebody, innit?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but like without the outlet of music, I'd be so fucked, man.
Yeah, mate.
I used to think that it was like a bit of a curse, because obviously it's it's a fucking tough way to try and make a living. But once I got over all that bullshit and realised I need this, it's like my lifeblood, do you know what I mean? The catharsis of it, like thank God that I found it at such a vulnerable age. So when I was like 13 and I started playing guitar, having guitar lessons and writing songs, I was just so happy to have found that outlet. I remember leaving my dad a voicemail because he, bless him, was paying for my guitar lessons, and I'd already been and seen one teacher who was a total prick, really condescending guy, and he was like trying to get me to play like Three Blind Mice and stuff. And I bought in a magazine of Total Guitar, and I think it had like Kirk Hammett from Metallica on the front of it. And he threw it across the room. He was like, "We're not learning to be guitarists, we're learning to be musicians."
Wow.
And I was like, "Fuck this!" And then my pal, Darren, bless him, he gave me the number for his guitar teacher. And in the first lesson, we were learning like Don't Look Back in Anger. Like I say, learning. I was fucking bundling my way through it.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously.
My first one was an Oasis one and all.
Was it? What one?
Half the World Away.
Nice.
I remember I had this little chord booklet. Like, do you remember ultimateguitar.com?
Yeah, it was good.
Had
That,
all the
wasn't
things,
it? Yeah.
and I remember that. Yeah, learning it out of that. And literally the first time I knew like more than 3 chords, I was like, oh, I'm ready to write a song now.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing I'd done to start.
Yeah, that outlet's so important, I mean, I was
It's
so.
nice to have.
Oh yeah, I was so frightened at that age, and if I hadn't have had music, who knows like where I'd be. But what was, I think, that's the point I'm trying to make, is I've carried a bit of that frightened child into my adulthood, and I feel like that's where my anxiety comes from.
Yeah.
And my bouts of depression, and it's just been a process, like trying to sort of, I don't know, like calm that down within myself, and it's like regular therapy and self-help books and
Learning how to get on top of it.
Chats like this, yeah, with dear friends.
Yeah. The dearest.
And yeah, it's just, yeah, I mean, and so, but I had to really dig deep to work out where the fuck that was coming from. Do you know what I mean? Like where that inner turmoil, where those voices and that were coming from, And now I know I can at least learn to live with it and find ways to be mindful.
Yeah, well, it's finding ways of dealing with it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I suppose there's 2 aspects to the battle, isn't there? There's working out whatever's going on inside and why it's making you feel like it is, and then working out how you can deal with it in day-to-day life, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. I don't know about you as well, but like, the mornings are like foggy time for me.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I think maybe musicians in general, we're more like night owls, aren't we, as people? But I have to get through like the fog of a morning.
Again, that's another thing, innit? Like, if you said that to the majority, maybe everyone feels like that in the mornings, but we don't say it to each other.
Well, this is the thing, you just feel like, I'm some lazy, lacklustre prick, do you know what I mean? And everyone else has got their shit on lock, haven't they,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right, if you opened up to, even something as trivial as that, as like not being good in the mornings, being caffeine reliant or whatever, like, that's probably the majority of us, isn't it, but people just, I think blokes in particular, it's obviously a problem across, the board, but it's just blokes in particular find this shit so hard to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. And I suppose, in a way, to wrap it up for what we're doing with this Christmas single, is again to reiterate the fact that horrendous statistic of, the biggest killer of men under 45 being suicide in the country. So how do we want to round that off with?
Well, just if there's anyone watching, anybody out there that's struggling to talk about this stuff, Calm is the platform, isn't it?
Yeah.
We'll post the number, like with this video. They run a helpline between 5 and midnight, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So I guess that's open to everybody, and that's a good place to start,
Yeah, and the sort of mantra that they're putting out there is, not to bottle it up, really, which I think is the issue for most men. It's like what we've just said, what we've been talking about, is that it's so difficult for men to show any sort of vulnerability or weakness because it makes you feel like less of a bloke or whatever. And silence is probably one of the most damaging things for people's mental health. So even if it's just a tap on the shoulder to a mate, it's good if we ask each other how we're getting on every now and then.
Check in with one another.
Yeah, definitely.